And we are live, as they say. Okay. Hi, ladies. Hi. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today is the first day that we are bringing you our new series called Echo, where we echo the voices of women in technology, Web3, blockchain, all those wonderful things. So we'll be coming to you weekly, trying to give some insights to let you know that there are women in the space. And so we're just going to be sharing information, knowledge, insights, all that good stuff. So we hope that you will join us each week on BK Crypto. Thank you, thank you. And today we have my co-host Rashona Bennett here. I'm sorry, I should say I am Kimberly Maltzby. And then we have my co-host Rashona Bennett from BK Crypto as well. And we have the glorious Alexandra Facard here. And she's actually also a BK Crypto member. So I'll have Rashona jump in and just get this party started.
Thank you. Always love the welcoming. Yes, it is powerful that we are living in the time now to just understand the power of what women bring to the space in technology, as you said before, in finance, in self-care, holistic healing, right? And so we want to hear from the voices of women who are making changes and ripple effects and echoing what it is in their purpose in life. So we have our lovely Alexandra. She is a Go Hard BK crypto fan, but she has a story and she is bringing purpose in the world. And so we want to hear what is echoing in Alexandra's life. So Alexandra, if you would just present to yourself who you are, and kind of like what you do, and then we'll go into understanding like what is actually echoing in your life.
Absolutely. And thank you so much. I'm very honored to be a guest here today. I think highly of BK Crypto, extremely highly of Roshona and Kimberly and the gents as well. So thank you. So what echoes for me in my life and what it is that I do, I'm multifaceted. I think my purpose, what echoes most resoundingly, is my heart is to help others with whatever it is that I do. So I am by trade an actor, writer, and a producer professionally, and I've done all of those. I'm also a real estate agent, and I'm also a holistic coach for actors. And the reason that I got into BK Crypto, which I was literally praying one day and I asked, will you please bring me another source of income? I would like passive income. Reason being is I want freedom. And freedom is very important to me because my definition of being free is to be able to go anywhere I would like, help anyone that I want, do anything that I can do without any boundaries whatsoever. And the more I got into the space, I was blessed by meeting someone, Dylan, the OG, that one day he just whispered to me because he was in my neighborhood and we've been seeing each other for a bit. He just like like he was selling crack. He was like, get ETH. Like, what? Anyway, I dug up a little bit more information, figured out what ETH was, eventually purchased it, and then I was graced with the ability to become a member of that live chat, which to this day is invaluable. So people should check it out because there's a lot of information still on that chat, even though it is no longer active. Uh, they were gracious enough to leave all that information, literally millions of dollars, if not billions, sitting on that. However, so I started to get into the chat a little bit more. It was during the bull run, so everybody was busy getting their earnings on, and I was trying to catch up. I finally caught up. And what I learned from that, what I was able to glean from that is, if you are an early investor, you will 1,000% be able to have income that is passive income Not only that, but you'll be able to reinvest in your businesses. So one of the things that I do is I have a production company, and my goal is to not only just for myself, but to have other artists have a voice, the diverse voices that are never heard, right? And financing projects can be very expensive. And we're always waiting, right? Waiting for permission, waiting for this, waiting for that. Well, if I'm able to finance someone else's project and I'm able to put it on my own platform because I've created it, then we're not waiting for anything. And the content, the voices that need to be heard are now in a position where they're making a difference in the world. So that's what I think crypto does for all of us. It gives us freedom. And as women of color, that's invaluable.
That's true.
You mentioned something very powerful, and I think that from your approach, when you think about what's echoing, we think about either what's echoing spiritually, right, to us, or what's echoing from people, right, in the sense, well, dealing with echoing in your ear to that brought you forth to investing, but also spiritually, you said you prayed about God to basically see another source. So that's another echo in your life, and it's I don't think that people realize that we're always being directed, but we're not always listening to the echoing, the consistency that's happening to guide us. A lot of times we kind of are more in the ego mind, but what brought you in that space to actually listen to the echo, right? There was something happening to
Well,
brought you to where you are today.
100%. And I've always been a very spiritual person. I've always been blessed in my life. I'm a master manifester. And that is not being braggadocious. It just is. I understand the power of the word, and I continuously understand how to get out of my way. I'm not always successful the first time, but eventually I do manifest exactly, actually, what I desire or even better. And so I wanted freedom, passive income. What did I do? I meditated on it. I journaled about it. What it would feel like, right? What does it feel like? What does free? Because we're really good at using words, and sometimes they're empty. We don't understand what the word freedom is. So I dug deeply for me and figured out what freedom is. Well, if I want to, next year, I want to take everybody on a trip to Morocco to celebrate my birthday. I want to be able to charter a plane. How much does that plane cost? Right? So things like that. How does it feel to be able to write a check and say, hey guys, come on, I got you. Let's just go. You don't have to worry about airfare. Let's just go to Morocco. Getting into that feeling, understanding how that feels, right? Doing vision boards. There's also, I am a big supporter and follower of Dr. Joe Dispenza. And I want to be clear when I say follower, his research, his teachings, and people can look him up on YouTube. He talks about the fact that we have 60,000 thoughts a day. At the very least, 60, the average person. The thing is, we keep looping, thinking the same thoughts over and over and over again. So neurologically, what happens is our brains begin to create batches of neurons that light up every time we have a thought. Now, you can never get rid of those batches, right? And if you're thinking positive thoughts, that's amazing. But if the thoughts aren't moving you forward and you find yourself in the same rut and you feel like, I can't change, this isn't happening, there's no manifestation, then what you have to do is you literally have to pivot, right? And start thinking new thoughts. And literally bombard yourself with those new thoughts. And how do you do that? I mean, again, I was very fortunate. I met all of you 4 years ago. So I was immersed in the BK crypto world. I would go to the outings. I was at every single Zoom meeting you had. I participated in all of the chats. It was beyond me at the time. I didn't understand anything, but I just started watching YouTubes, right? And understanding and using what you provided for me. And I immersed myself in that world. Well, then I started to see, and all of you, by the way, you all have passive income, which blows my mind. So proximity, I was around the people, right, that are doing the things I desire, right? So and therefore new neuron batches started to form. And I started to see and believe, and more importantly than seeing, feeling. I started to feel what it felt like to have freedom, to have passive income, what that feels like. So it's a very long-winded answer, but because of what I focused on, right, new neuron batches started to form, and I started to see other possibilities. But I'm not a religious person by any stretch of the imagination. I am a spiritual person. I believe in the power of our ancestors. I believe in the power of meditation. I believe in the power of spelling, speaking the spoken word, and then the integrity of keeping our bodies clean so that we can be in alignment to hear those messages. Because they're always there, but if we're not meditating, if we're not keeping our temple clean, drinking enough water, eating whole foods, those things for me have magnified what I'm able to hear.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. It totally touches upon a lot of what Rashona teaches, because within BK Crypto, we do the crypto coaching. This is true, but we also have the lovely Rashona who does financial soul healing. She can surely tell us more about that. But the idea is that many people, they don't even have the foundation straight. For who they are and how they what their relationship with money is. So Rashona, can you just go into a bit of that really quickly?
Yeah, that's powerful. I was just thinking about what you were saying, Alexandra, and how it resonates with me, was echoing consistently. When we think about echoing, it's like a metaphor, right? The consistent vibration of echoing. And so you channeled that in that what you wanted to be consistent in your air, right? Whether it was metaphysical, physical, spiritual, emotional, and you took control of those echoes. And so we all hear sounds. And so the sound that I heard to even get to this space as a financial soul healer, I too was on a journey of healing, right? In Mexico at the end of the year. When I came back to New York, being a busy bee, right? I was told, I was echoed, sit your ass down, right? And listen and meditate. And what was echoing in my ear was basically, you are here to help to empower people through finances, but you have to do it through a level of soul traumas, financial soul healing. And it was brought to me constantly. It was so radiant. It was like financial soul healer, financial soul healer, financial soul healer. And I was like, okay, I hear you. I hear the vibrations. I hear the consistent echoing in my ear. I had a choice to move in that path. And I did. And I'm happy, as you stated too. I don't think people really understand the relationship with money, the correlation of our soul traumas, through whether it's past lives, ancestral, right? These blockages in relationships of, I can get money, but I can't sustain it. I'm a spender. I'm an overspender. I'm an oversaver. I'm an avoidance. And those key terms, because of my skill set and because of my journey and because of being a financial counselor by day and because of BK Crypto, I've been able to touch so many people or seen what they've experienced and now be able to use that as a method to say, we need healing in these spaces. How do I help you with identifying the blockages, right? How do I help you to identify the soul traumas? But also maybe in this new journey, maybe something different to echo in your life. Maybe you need to understand what your soul purpose is,
Right.
right?
I think we were speaking the other day, and you said something that echoed very loudly with me. And one of the things that I hadn't even thought about is ancestral, right? Ancestral legacy. What's in our waters, right? And we as people of color, right? We all come from trauma, We all come from, if we are on this land here, we have all come from trauma. And so we know that our ancestors were kings and queens and, you know, high ranking in our tribes. We know it, we know this in our nations, not tribes. Tribes is a colonial word. So in our nations, and that's something for us to think about, right? Not that we have to lament on it, but definitely something that we have to say, bring to the altar, right? And say to our ancestors, we're here. We're here now. Thank you for the sacrifices you've made. Show us how to
Yes.
bring your legacy, your desires forward, right? We can, and Joe Dispenza talks about this. It's a little metaphysical, but we have the ability to go back in times of moments in history, in our history, and in our ancestors' histories, where things needed to be different, right? And
Yes.
it's our opportunity to say, okay, that sucked, what happened, but we rewrite history to say we were victorious, right? We maintained
Mm.
we maintained our finances, we maintained our gold, we maintained our oil and our iridium, and we were able to we are now bringing it forth now, and we are the ones that you imaged to bring us here for such a time as this, to be able to fulfill the legacy that you had foreseen for us.
Shay.
Amen.
Amen. Right? I mean, Kim, I mean, this is amazing because even in some of the workshops, even us just having conversations, we always think about where do we get our money habits? Like what was echoing in our life that we seen to create the money habits that we have? And I think Kim and I always had a conversation. She's like reflecting back. I mean, we were in the kitchen and I was like, where'd your money habits come from? Because Kim is the boss of money. Like she manifests that, like that's that Aquarius magic, right? And right.
No,
So that
really,
conversation.
it came from my family. It came from my parents. I mean, it's funny, because I hear a lot of children today don't sit around the dinner table with their parents. Actually, I learned that when I was a kid. That actually, I think I was one of two kids in my classroom, maybe in the 8th grade, where our chemistry professor was doing a little experiment, and I think it's because the kids are not like present during a lot of those conversations. But my parents had us there every day. We were eating family meals. Funny, I don't do that as much with my son. I need to make him come sit down at the table more often. But just being there with those conversations, whatever was going on, my parents were never ones to say, "Oh, okay, leave the room. This is grown folk conversation." That never happened. And they would always say, "Here, come in here and listen to this because you're going to need to hear this. You're going to need to know this when you get older. So come listen to it now." My father was big on that. My mother was big on that. I will say my mother was definitely the money person. She definitely, managed the family. That's what people do, come in, give your check, and then keep it moving, right? That's how a lot of families are,
What was
right?
the constant thing that echoed in your life when you were younger about money? Like, what was a consistency
You
that
know
echoed in
what?
your ear?
Honestly, it was saving. And I don't know when
Mm,
401ks came into plan, but I know that, or pensions or whatever, but I know that both my parents had those in place from a very early age. From all my years, I recall them talking about them and putting it into them. But I think that 401ks came around in the 80s. Was it in the 80s or was it 70s?
you
I can't
got me,
remember.
girl.
Because I remember the gentleman who created that concept. He, was I think it might, well, anyway, 70s or 80s. I'm fairly certain it was one of those. And many people who had pensions back in the day were no longer going to have those. So they were, so people were getting prepared, and even with that, even with the concept of having 401ks, people think, oh, that's going to be enough for their retirement. But, heck, we are learning that that is not going to be enough. And they are designed to leave you with not enough. Okay. Because how convenient is it that every few years, 8, 10 years, whatever, there's some sort of a major market crash, okay, which wipes much of that money away from these people who've been saving so many years. These things, I'll call them very convenient, you know? And we are approaching another such cycle, coming up. Granted, we had the financial crisis of the 2008, 2009 crises, and it's been far more years than normal that the economies, the world economies, have been propped up. And so, you know, anyone who's in finance to any degree will tell you that, yeah, we're due for a major market correction. They'll call it correction. They don't want to use the word crash these days, but we know what it is, okay? And so we at BK Crypto, it's not just crypto, but we feel that cryptocurrencies, the idea of there being a limited supply of certain cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, that having that limited supply is key, because we don't have that with the dollars and the yens and the euros and whatever currency it is it's in your country. There are infinite supplies. Each country just prints more and more and more. And we and people who are advocates for cryptocurrency, we realize that there's no way, once your money came off the gold standard back during the Nixon presidency, it was done. It was done.
And to your point, I actually Googled it, and the first implementation of the 401k was November 6th, 1978.
78. Look at that. Look at that.
100%. Yep, 1978. The first implementation plan, about 3 weeks after Section 401k was reenacted, before the Revenue Act of 1978 even went into effect.
Yeah. And I saw a few years ago, apparently the gentleman who created the 401k concept, he came out and he said, it was the worst thing he ever did, because it took the onus, responsibility out of the hands of the companies. So then the companies no longer have, they're like, whatever, oh, we don't have to worry about those people when they get older. There are many other countries where, the people are still guaranteed a certain retirement, a livable wage in their country. And then people in the United States are constantly talking about, well, we can't do that because, we have too many people. Or we can't do that because I don't even know, I'm not saying that socialism is it, but when we pay nearly as much as some European countries towards taxes, it's nearly as much, and we don't get anywhere near as much as they get, and then go ahead.
What I was going to say about that, and apologies for interrupting, what is screaming at me is, again, this freedom, right? We keep, I think in the United States, we have been duped into believing that we need to wait. We have to have permission from the government. We have to wait to get our 401k. We have to wait to get our Social Security benefits, et cetera, et cetera. And we all equivocally know that they are not going to meet the standards, just the standards of living, no matter where you're living, because the prices keep increasing. What cryptocurrency does, and we mean all of the people in the know, all of the financial people have actually now have had to say it, that it is a new way of living. It is a new currency. The money as we understand it right now is failing. They haven't said that. But the fact that they now are saying, you know what, we want electronic trading funds and we'll take Bitcoin, and all of these top people, they know what's up. They're taking their money out of the stock market and purchasing crypto.
And that's what it is. It's the top people. The top people know that. They haven't alerted all the minions, as they like to call us. They haven't alerted their little people. So little people are still going around telling everyone, oh no, you better, do the stock market and do this.
But that's exactly what they want us to do, because
Exactly.
the top people have always had the freedom. They're doing this. They're telling us, hey, you know what? It's crisis. You need to continue to invest in the stock market. You need to da 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 da. Meanwhile, Bezos took out $200 million of his Amazon stock. Everyone wondered where they went, right? What he was doing with it. He invested that money, and now he into crypto, and now he's working with the wax coin. Really? I mean, it's all there, and I think that that's the freedom that we were not in a position in the
Years
1920s,
past.
right? Oh, actually, there was Black Wall Street, but they did away with that. So, but this time we're positioned in a very different place. We see what's happening, right? We see that's the freedom that we're talking about. We are now having the ability. We don't have the $200 million yet, maybe, but whatever it is that we have, we can begin to invest those coins right now. The same abilities that these people have, and with that kind of freedom, to grow our freedom. And I think what's interesting, I think, going back to the spiritual part of it, people have talked about, and Roshana, you can speak more about that there's the polar shift that's happened now, and now we're in the age of Aquarius. So we are now able to get our reparations. We are able to manifest the desires of our hearts in a gentler way, in a more maternal way. It doesn't have to be violent, but we can get what it is that we desire, and that's the way to do it, right? To see what's happening in the future, and what we think is happening in the future is actually happening right now. People keep waiting, and they're like, oh no, it's going to be like this. No, it's happening right now, because the top people are doing it now. So it is happening now. By the time y'all catch up, you're going to be running, because it's going to be too late. And I think that's what people have to wrap their brains around. And I think that that's why BK Crypto is such a powerful group of people who have a heart. Not only do you have a heart, you all of you figured this out yourselves. So you have tangible proof that it works. That's why I've been telling you for years. I'm like, monetize this. Monetize this. I will pay for it, because I understand its worth, right? Because this is how we get to the $200 million of crypto. That's what those big guys are doing. You guys figured it out in the crypto world, and this is what you put on a silver an iridium platter for that part
I
of it.
love that. It's interesting. I think it's important for people to hear how we even got into crypto. What sparked this? Because I know for me, honestly, I saw little rumblings early on, but it was 12, 9, 10, 11. It was around 2011. And a friend came to me, and I'd seen stuff, but a friend came to me and asked me about it. And I said, well, I really don't know, but you know what? Let me shoot that question over to a friend who was trading Forex at the time, he and a bunch of his friends. So I reached out to him, and he came back basically with the same sort of thing that I came with. I said, because for me, I thought it was like penny stocks, and I was like, I'm not gonna deal with that. But then they came back and said, they're just like, nah, we're not touching it. We're not touching it. That's, because it was, of course, pennies, back then, right? Any event, fast forward to 2000. Let me see if it ran in, well, did it run in 2017? Was it 2017? Yeah, because I got in 2017, 18. Okay. And so it started doing its run, I guess, earlier that year. And I had no idea. It wasn't until the fall that I really started researching it. And it took a good 3 months before I felt comfortable buying anything. Okay. And it was already running up at that point. I was like, but funny enough, I happened to speak to my son's music therapist, and he said, oh, he started talking. He goes, "Oh yeah, I got some Bitcoin in June or May." Like I said, "What? Why didn't you tell me?" And I said, that's the thing. People just do things silently because
Yeah.
it's
Yes.
so unknown. You don't
Yes.
want to be judged by
Yes.
others.
Yeah.
So, so I was just like, and then I said, oh, so then I started talking to him because let me tell you, everybody that I tried to talk to about crypto back then, nobody wanted to hear it. Nobody, heck, even now,
Some
a lot of
people
people
don't
don't.
want to hear it.
Exactly. They don't want to hear it. And I'm just like, oh my God, could we just, it was such a wonderful thing when I happened to, like, a friend of mine was at the bookstore and she overheard Rashona having a conversation. Okay. And she said, Kim would actually like that. Rashona mentioned this meeting. BK Crypto was just starting. And so my friend came to me and she said, you should go to this meeting. There are these people, they're Black. Okay. And they just started this group to discuss cryptocurrency. I said, oh my God. So I put on my little thing. It was like another couple of days. I put on my little jacket. I said, because again, I couldn't find anyone in my circle who would even talk about it, right? I went to that meeting. I walked in there, I sit down. I end up sitting next to this young lady, Rashona Bennett. Okay. And so then, they're going around just introducing yourselves, and I said my last name. I said my name, and she looked at me. She said, did you work with Sony? Yeah. Did you work with Patrick? Yeah. And she goes, I know you. And I was just like, well, freak, you knew that much about me. You clearly know me. It was my thought. And then it came out that we actually knew each other from years earlier, when she was, performing with Patra. And I was like, this is crazy, And I said, oh, but it felt good because I was like, oh my God, this is someone that I had experience with, just not some random people. Granted, everybody in that room, lovely. And then Rashona could go into how she came into the room. Go ahead. Oh, you're on mute.
That's so funny because when we think about the consistency of the echoing, it was divine alignment. The vibration was so divine in all of our connections. So that it made sense. And so the same thing, me getting to be crypto, not only connecting with you, but also Dylan, again, meeting on a train because we were going to a crypto event on a rooftop. And he's looking at myself and a friend at the time, like, I know you, but he heard us talking about crypto. So it's passionate. He's like, oh my God, you don't remember me? You and I used to work together at H&M. I'm like, no way. You know what I mean? And it was like, okay, so that's first. Then Ansel, right? The other leg, right, is 4, foundation. It's so powerful. I'm like literally scoping Ansel on Facebook and I'm looking at all his comments and his writing, and he's so savvy and articulate and expressive when it comes to the community, when it comes to macro and micro economics. And then he had an African flag, so that also drew me in. And I was like, brother, you need to join BK Crypto. Me and Ansel went to Brooklyn Tech together, high school. You know what I mean? So it was divine alignment, and I was like, okay, so this is purposeful. And remember, we all didn't really reconnect until after 20 years later. And then with you, Alexander, right? You met Dylan first, who drew you into crypto. But I met you years ago from getting our hair done with the hairdresser, Vanessa.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So when he said the name, I was like, I know her.
Yes.
She does real estate, like top high-end real estate. Yes. And so when we start really thinking about and sitting about, like, we might think something's not working out right for us, or why do I have to go through this? It's because the consistent echo in your life is really bringing you forth to a higher vibration when you're ready to receive it and connect with it. And I know that for a fact, meeting Kimberly, meeting you, meeting Dylan, meeting Ansel, like, we're family. Like, we're moving in a community, like I said, building nations. We're nation building. And that in itself confirms that we're in the right place. And so our passion for BK Crypto is the same thing. We would align and connect with the right hearts, the right communities, the right beings, so that we can basically echo the same vibration of building wealth, sustainable wealth, right? Changing our lives. And so when we really get our purpose, and the whole, not just the piece, but the whole to the pod, we can create this whole, like you asked me about the spiritual time that we're in Aquarius. In Aquarius energy, it is about the knowing. Is it about the technology? It's about the information, but it's also about the humanitarian.
If I may,
Yes.
I feel the reason I'm so passionate about BK Crypto is it's the people, it's a movement. You see, I look at it as a movement. It's just the same way we had the Black Panthers, we had the civil rights movement. This is a movement for people of color, right? To be able to change all of our financial history, his story, and make it our story. That's why I'm so passionate about it, because you, all four of you, bring your own points of view, your own, which are all multifaceted and powerful. And, for Ansel, when I met Ansel, last event that we had in the summer, finally got to sit down with him and understand what, because he's always so passionate about Bitcoin. I was like, Ethereum. He's like, no, let me explain why. When he explained Bitcoin to me and why that was so important, I went, okay. So each of you bring your own expertise and you all have equal expertise and are more passionate about certain areas of it. But you all resonate with us in different ways, right? So that way it's far reaching. That's why I see this as a movement, because when people sit down with you, all of you, we're transformed. I mean, I'm the type of person that you would talk to me about finances before, and I would say, oh my God, look at the kitty. Isn't that pretty? I had no interest at all in talking about anything pertaining to finances. But now I see it as a tool. I understand it because it's been explained to me so thoroughly. And I look forward to learning more, right? Because I want those neuron batches to continue to fire up. So that, and my goal, because all of you have been so helpful to me, when I find, and my goal, I remember when I first started, I was like, I'm going to find a coin that nobody knows, and I'm going to come and I'm going to tell them. Well, that happened finally. It finally happened. And I was so excited. But you know what? How did it happen? Because I was talking to Dylan, and and he said, you know what? Why don't you try, trading? Just go and trade. And I went on Token Metrics and I typed in top AI coins, top 10 AI coins. And then no one had heard about it. The next week, Ian Bellino was talking about the coin. So, we have the tools. And I also want to say this, 4 years ago, it was much harder. When you guys started, it was super hard. And what I mean by that is trading and understanding, like the tools that we have now, like the token metrics, like the tools that you constantly are bringing. You have facilitated many things for us because you have done them, tried them, sometimes failed. And that's great, because there's no such thing as failing. We only learn, we get better. And so now, like, I know that I lost my coins and my crypto angel found them. You know what I'm saying? And that's only because of the fact that you have been in the game for so long. And so the tools that we have, the people that are the recipients that are participating in BK Crypto, it's because you went out, you dug for gold, you found iridium, and you came back and said, here are the tools.
Yeah.
So we have a shortcut.
That is exactly what it's about, Alexandra. When we formed BK Crypto, it's designed, okay, because we were going out to conferences as independent, as as individuals, and we didn't see any people in the space who looked like us, and we were just like, come on, there's got to be other people who look like us who are at least interested in this stuff, And we were not trying to grow a group or whatever. We just said, hey, we want to be able to talk to other people who are interested in this, just like we are, you know?
Yeah.
And so we organically came together. And, it's like we talk about, like the 4 people, founders, but it's about everybody, because everybody provides information, everybody provides value. And so it's the adage of each one teach one is really present within the group, because if you have a question about anything, someone is going to come in and answer it for you. Someone's going to help you, so that and we were trying to instill that philosophy for everyone. So anyone who came to the group was like, okay, well, you know what, chime in. Don't sit here. It's like, we're not here just to be, we don't want to be viewed as the ones who know it all. If we see things going down the rails in the chat, I don't always talk in the chat. I surely don't, but I pay attention and I'll chime in and say, oh, no. Don't do that. Don't click that. Don't do, no, come here with your questions, because we've definitely saved a number of people from losing their coins. Because when you act too quickly, you act too quickly and you click on a link or something, it's too late after you do that.
Well, and and that's it. That's why I call it a movement, because we begin to learn, and then we can help each other, right? It's truly a community. It is a community. And we went to the NFT parties. We participated. There were not a lot of us. There just were not that many people of color. Sometimes we brought the color because there was nobody there.
That's true.
I think that it's important. Again, we have the opportunity to have our ancestors' dreams fulfilled. That's how I look at it. And it would be foolish of us not to look at this gift that we've been given and jump on it. Because in America, they gave people land in California so that they could go and mine the gold. And it wasn't us. It wasn't people of color. They did that. They gave them land. They gave them opportunities to mine the gold. And now we have been afforded the same opportunity because we are giving it to ourselves, which is more powerful.
Right.
So much more powerful. And then I think, bringing in the spiritual aspect of it, to be able to bring our spiritual sides to say, how do you want us to move? What are we to do with the coins when we have them, the projects that we have them? Roshona said something that was so powerful to me the other day. She's like, girl, I ask your ancestors which coins, like for real, ask them. And that's the element that BK Crypto has, that, you can subscribe to somebody else, right? They're not bringing that kind of knowledge and wisdom to it, because they're just going by data. And you go by data too, but we have this extra spiritual part that we as people of color are so connected to, that the Anglos want to emulate. They don't know how to get into it. Like, it's part of us. It's in our waters.
And thank you for bringing that up. And this is actually a good time to close, because I think you said so much that it gets people to ponder and think, right? I want to ask a question before we close out, because you brought it home. That's what BK Crypto does. It's a 360. It's not just this, well, I got up in the morning time, I'm my 9 to 5, and my 9 to 5 I come home, and if we go to sleep. You brought in the aspect of the holistic approach, understanding your finances, understanding the community, who do you connect with, and also connecting with yourself and trusting yourself, right? And so what I want to say before we close out here, so powerful, is what are the 3 things that are now echoing in your life? Kim, Alexandra, myself, what are the 3 things now that is echoing in your life? Simple words, 3 things.
Movement. I think, it's like I feel like I should be elsewhere. And so
Okay. Okay.
that, you guys know me. I'm just trying to be ginger with it. But yeah, I feel like a move is imminent. Yeah.
Okay.
Freedom, freedom, freedom.
Mm. Mm. Powerful.
Love that.
Truth, prosperity, freedom.
That's powerful. Yeah. And for me, it is all those things. But I think that it all comes together, that truth, truth and knowing, as you like to say, prosperity, and the freedom to do that. And granted, money brings about a lot of that. But I think that knowing yourself and not living for anyone else is so important. So once you get through the concept of, or get past the concept of doing what everything that you do, doing it for yourself, not for anyone else, not for the appearances, not for the Joneses, the Johns, the anybody else, and just walk that path and align yourself with people who, elevate you. That's going to take you far. So, I will close this out by saying, if anybody is even interested in learning about cryptocurrencies, even some traditional finance stuff, shoot us a note, shoot us a line, drop a comment down below. We will surely get back to you. And, we're here. We run classes regularly. We have financial soul healing classes as well. There's a workshop actually coming up at on April 20th at 9:30 in the morning for like an hour and a half. Rashona is running that. You can get tickets on Eventbrite. That is Unveiling Financial Resilience with Rashona Bennett on Eventbrite. Okay, so we'll see about putting a link to that down below. And then we also partner, or we collaborate with other organizations in the space, because we know, like, we are here to do things with other individuals. Okay, this is a collaborative effort. So anytime, so reach out to BK Crypto. You can reach us online at bkcryptocoach.com or on social media, BK Crypto WRLD, and hit us up. We look forward to hearing from you guys. We want to thank Alexandria for joining us today. This was really, really good. And we look forward to seeing you next time on BK Crypto. Thanks, guys. I think we lost Rashona.